S for Sonia, and you'll never guess where we are today. We're in Crockett County.
That's right, just a stone's toss over the county line.
We're at Green Frog. We're here to talk to Dr. John Freeman and learn about this great settlement that's right here on 412.
I'm excited, I'm ready to go.
Let's go.
Come on.
I'd always been fascinated with the log houses, old primitive log structures. So when we came back to the States, I'd found some log buildings and decided to build our house out of old logs. And my wife was patient with me. But anyway, we built our house out of logs, and then people see me that I was interested in logs, and they said, well, I know where some more logs are, or I want to give you these logs. And finally, we had our yard filled up with log structures, my tractor barn and storeroom and all. And somebody gave me a barn, and that was this barn here, a 30-foot square log barn that was just a beautiful piece of history. Had all the stalls, the mule stalls were logs. So that log structure spilled over into this part here. We'd bought this farm that was next door to my mother's farm. And then a distant relative gave us a country store and a log house that we moved over here. And then the little church down the road, the Crossroads Methodist Church, closed up, and then they wanted to get rid of that, so they gave us that, and we moved it up here. And it's got log ceiling timbers in it. They're built in about 1890 or somewhere around there. So we restored it, and then several other log structures people kept giving us, and we'd buy a few of them. But it just grew up, and then finally that came to the idea of making a kind of rural West Tennessee antique town or village. Well, there was a little country store over here at the corner of Johnson Grove Road and Highway 88, right here, and one of the old timers said that name of that store when they first built it was Green Frog Store. And so the neighborhood out in here got to be called, that was the only landmark, and so the neighborhood got to be known Green Frog, but that had pretty well died down when we moved here, but I heard about it, some of the old timers knew about it, and the little store was still down there when we moved here, but it was closed. But I thought, well, Green Frog needs to have a name, and I was hoping it would hop. It started out as a history-saving project. We converted our log houses into bed and breakfast cabins that we rent, and converted this building here into an event center. And so my daughter then started focusing on weddings. So now we welcome people to come and see history. You can get a self-guided tour of the village. But our real income there comes from the renting the cabins and the wedding venue. But we're still working at saving history. We've got, like I said, the print shop that we've managed to accumulate from several different sources, and it's a working print shop now. And then the blacksmith shop, we fire it up every now and then to make something. We've got a corn crib, several corn cribs. We got one corn crib back here now that somebody gave us. I got a call from the Boot Hill, one of the little towns up on the Boot Hill, and they said, we found a corn crib and we're cleaning off some property and tore down an old barn, and there in the middle of it was an old corn crib, real nice. Said, if you want it, you can have it. Well, I wasn't interested. It was July. It was August and hot. You know how hot it gets in August. But anyway, the temptation was too much for me, so I got in my car and went up there and looked at it. Beautiful old cypress log, burned 12 by 24 feet. A big, didn't have a roof on it, but it was all solid logs. Well, then I still wasn't interested, though. I called the guy, said, I know a guy, there's a guy here that can move it for you if you want it moved. And so he gave me his telephone number, and I came home and called him, was telling him that, inquiring about it, telling him I couldn't handle that. And then I finally asked him, how much, by the way, what it would cost to move that if I wanted to. He said, about $200. I said, Lord, I can't even go up there and drive up there and back for $200. So I said, when does it have to be moved? He said, tomorrow. So I was up there at 7 o'clock with my helper cleaning out. And 8 o'clock, he said he'd be there at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, he showed up with 2 big forklifts and a lowboy, lifted that thing up, set it on that lowboy. An hour later, we were here in Green Frog. So that's how things go in Green Frog. And now we're converting that into a cabin to rent. My daughter, she's in charge of that. We started looking for a cotton gin. We drove all over West Tennessee with one of my cotton gin buddies, and we couldn't find anything we were looking for. So at the end of one day, he said, put an ad in this technical journal, Southern Oil Cotton Press or something like that, and said somebody might have what we're looking for. So I put an ad in there in 2 or 3 months and forgot about it. And 2 or 3 months went by and nothing happened. Finally, one day, a guy called me up from Starkville, Mississippi. He was an ag engineer down at the university. He happened to see that ad. He said, what are y'all doing up there? And I told him what we were doing. We're looking for a museum piece. He said, well, I think I know where you need to look. So about an hour later, I got this call from Mantua, Alabama, a little place nobody ever heard of. And Irvin Eatman was on the phone. He said, I hear y'all looking for a cotton gin. I said, yeah. He said, I've got one in my backyard my grandfather built. It needs to be moved. So we went down and looked at it, and that was a gin, had the patent dates on there, was 1876, the machinery. It was built about a 1910 model gin. All the wood stands and everything was in perfect shape, but it was needing to be moved. But it's a really antique, a rare cotton gin because it's all made out of wood frame gin stands and it's all in good shape. So we've tried to collect everything that would be relevant to a rural Tennessee antique town. But people enjoy coming here, and we don't have television or internet in our cabins. When people come here, they come here to get away from things. Now we've got fishing here. If they want to come and fish, catch and release, they can do that, or just lay about and enjoy a quiet time away from the big city. You can go to Green Frog Farm Cabins, and that gives the description of each of our cabins, the price, availability, and the booking information. That's usually the way we handle that. And but we're on Highway 412 between Bells, right halfway between Bells and Alamo.
Well, Sonia, what do you think?
I think it's wonderful to be here at Green Frog, that Dr. John has preserved the southern heritage of our area.
That's right. So many wonderfully restored historic structures. And you know what? There's such beautiful nature here.
It's peaceful.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. We experienced it walking between the buildings and through the property. The great sense of nature and of peace. And just imagine like having a wedding here.
Oh, yeah.
Or just coming for the weekend. The cabins are beautiful.
And speaking of cabins, I think it's a good time to go and retreat. What do you think?
I love that idea.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Bye, y'all.